one of the things we say or said in our campaign is that, you know, we're here to represent Utahns and Utah's values as well. But you know, I've been in this race of just about a month now, so we're just still getting off the ground. But you know, the first thing I said is I want to get out of Salt Lake County. I want to start visiting some of the other counties, and Weber County obviously is very important for us in this race, and was traditionally a Democratic bastion, although it's changed over the years. But I think the values of this county are the values of the Democratic Party. And I'm getting into this race. One of the reasons is that I feel this state is ready to sort of go to a next level. And I think Governor Huntsman started getting us there, although not a Democrat, a Republican. He started moving us ahead. And one of the things I'm afraid of is that we're going to start taking 2 steps back instead of continuing that momentum forward. And there's really, in our campaign, we say is getting back to basics, and it really is about getting back to basics, having a small, efficient government that is there for the people. And I think what we need, especially in this state, is an independent voice for our citizens. You know, when you have one party in power, I don't care if it's Democrats or Republicans, you don't have good government. Balanced government is always, I think, an important thing in government. And in Salt Lake County, we have a very balanced government. We have 5 Democrats now and 4 Republicans on our council. It used to be the other way around last year. And our executive officials are about the same. I think we're 5 Republicans and 4 Democrats. So we have a very balanced government, which means we discuss things, which means everything we do is out in the open, and there's nothing hidden from the public, and nothing done behind closed doors. And I think that's really what we need in this state as well, is some balance in And we also need to get back to the basics in terms of our education system. You know, we've had our state leaders for many years, and it's continuing again this campaign, that say education is our #1 priority. But if you look at what's happened over the years, education hasn't been the #1 priority. And there's a research study that just came out by the Utah Foundation. They're talking about education. And back in the 90s, Utah was #7 in terms of what they call funding effort, which is the amount of our incomes that actually go towards education. We were #7 in the 90s. In 2007, we were number 34, and of course, we're 50th in terms of per pupil funding. And they also looked at states like Utah's to see how similar states in terms of size and demographics, how they were in their education system. And we were by far the bottom of that group as well. So we don't put education in the forefront in our state legislature anymore like they did in the past. Doesn't mean we don't have a good education system, because we do, but our demographics are changing in the state, and so it means that we really need to change how we look at education and maintain the importance of education, because our future is dependent on education, our economy is dependent on education, our youth their success will be dependent on education as well. So I think it is very, very, very important. You were even getting claps from outside. There's some believers in the Golden Corral. We're also focusing on what I like to call the new energy economy. Utah is like many of our surrounding states. We have a lot of natural resources. Of course, we have coal, natural gas, and oil, but we also have sun, wind, geothermal, biomass energy as well, which means that we should expand our economy, especially in the rural areas. Instead of being dependent on one energy source, we can expand our economy by looking at all our energy sources and create jobs through all these different energy sources. And I sit on the board of the Economic Development Corporation of Utah, and I know 2 companies, at least in the last year, that one of the reasons they didn't come here because they didn't feel Utah was progressive enough in those areas. And so that's one area I would like to focus on as well. You know, really for me, it's just about running a good government. I've been the Salt Lake County mayor for 5 years now. last year we cut our budget 20%. We reduced our number of employees by 7%. But I say that only to tell you that we only had, out of the 300 employees that we reduced, only about 5 were layoffs. So we went through our budget line item by line item. We didn't have this mentality of cut across the board, cut people, cut programs, cut everything. Because I can tell you one thing: you cannot cut your way to economic prosperity, and you can't tax your way to economic prosperity. It has to be a balanced approach on how you govern and how you create your budget. So those are some of the things I'm looking at and want to focus on as the gubernatorial candidate. And I really think we need somebody up there who really is going to stand up there for our citizens. And there's a couple of issues. I'm sure you've been reading about them in the paper. One of them is nuclear waste. The other is the water in the Snake Valley area, which Las Vegas would like to take from us. And I can tell you, I don't see much leadership up at the state right now on those two issues. And I think we're going to see more of that unless we have somebody who is willing to stand up and say, I'm here for the people. I'm here to represent the citizens. So that's who I am, and I'm happy to answer any questions. We're going to work hard. We need your help, though. I can't win this thing by myself. It's got to be everybody participating, and our campaign is here to help the local parties as well to expand and get the word out. So I appreciate all of you being here. Actually, we weren't sure of the turnout. We had to bring in an extra table, so it's great to see everybody come out here today. And I want to answer questions.
Let me ask you, you're now part of the council, Salt Lake County Council, and you keep your seat if you lose?
I do keep my seat, so I don't have to give up my county mayor's seat to run, which is a good thing. People say, well, how are you gonna be able to do that? Run for governor and be the mayor? I said, well, how's the governor gonna govern and run for governor again too? So it's the same situation. You just work 90 hours a week instead of 70 hours a week.
Peter, I'm a physician, and I see what seems to be increasing numbers of respiratory complaints and ailments, especially this winter and last. We have dirty air in Utah now, and particularly, particularly this time of year. I almost wish elections were held in February for this reason, but so we'd all have that front and center in our brains. As the new governor, what will you do to help move forward some of the initiatives that are already being talked about to clean up our air?
Great question.
I have a sidebar question I want to ask you when you finish that.
Sure. I should have mentioned that earlier, because in Salt Lake County we really have focused on what I call quality of life, and people live in Utah and businesses move here because of our quality of life. And one of the qualities is our air quality that we have to be concerned about. And there's no silver bullet to clean up our air. There's a lot of things we can do. Mass transit is one of them. And I know Mayor Godfrey and some of the commissioners up here are looking at mass transit. Mass transit has been very helpful to us in Salt Lake County. We're adding 4 new lines, which it was the local governments who really stepped up to the plate, because when we went to our state government, they weren't very excited about light rail in Salt Lake County. Didn't want to help us fund it, so we went and said, well, we'll fund it ourselves. And then they changed their tune. We also look at how we plan, how we zone our communities. The traditional model after World War II is you drive to your malls, you drive to your education, you drive to work, you drive to recreation. Now we're looking at things differently, where we have these more sustainable communities where you can live, work, recreate, and educate all in one community. And I think that's making a difference. So, we may not have our traditional downtowns anymore. We'll have different business nodes where people can live close to work. And I think that makes a difference as well. And then just a public campaign, trying to get people to think differently as well. I mean, idling. We idle our cars. We sit in the drive-through and leave our cars on for 5 minutes instead of turning your car off when you get to the bank teller. Turn your car off. First of all, they probably appreciate it, and you save gas at the same time. So there's